So, as you saw by the title of the video, today it's time to travel inward and deeper inward to the feminine divine, the collective unconscious. That is to say, to your most inward center, the center that all of humanity shares. It's within everyone, you, me, everyone. Okay, and the symbols are there. That's why it's called collective unconscious. They're archetypal. They repeat themselves, like I said, in all cultures, all nations, all people. The tree, the center, the sacred mountain, the sacred grove, temple. Here, I'm going to use an example of, like I said in my previous video, of the ancient Greek, the father of Western shamanism. You know, West once had shamanism, mysticism, and then came along our institutions, religions that took over and abolished, oppressed, first oppressed, then abolished and destroyed our culture of shamanism, direct experience of the spirit of the divine. They have destroyed it nearly completely for 2,500 years. Initially it was destroyed by the ancient Greeks, Plato, Aristotle. The reason took over and the direct experience, the mysticism, was put aside. But this is a journey that it's a poem written by the ancient Greek Parmenides, depends on how you want to pronounce. I will leave a link to the article. This is part of the article that I wrote some years ago. And in this poem, he describes his own journey inward and deeper inward. What's important to remember is that, Parmenides didn't travel to Mecca. He didn't travel to Jerusalem. He didn't travel to Rome. He didn't have to travel to Benares or any other so-called sacred place to find what he was looking for, which, by the way, he wouldn't have found. It's not there. He traveled inward, into himself, deep inward into his own dimension of spirit. That's what spirituality is really all about. That's why it's called spirituality, because you're leaving this world, the physical reality, into the inner world of your dreams, visions, intuition, into the world of spirit. Yeah, it's not talking about the world of spirit, but actually living, experiencing the world of spirit, which is spirituality. Okay? And now, I also call this going inward and deeper inward to the feminine divine. This, by the way, was written 2,500 years ago. Yeah, we knew this once, that within us, it's not a masculine figure or male figure like we are seeing now in the three Abrahamic religions, or even in Hinduism. That is, a Brahma, the male god, that is at the center. Here, it is the female. The feminine intuition leads him there, and the feminine receives him there and shows him what he needs to know, what he needs to be shown. This is written 2,500 years ago. So this is a fact. Like I shared with you in my own experiences, in my own dreams and visions, I saw exactly the same thing. Yes, you can have guides, male guides, that's not a problem, or androgynous guides. Depends on what you need. That's what will come for you. Depends what you're comfortable with. But collectively speaking, what you need to experience, what is actually there, is the feminine, the holy feminine. Okay? So I will read this poem out to you, and then I'll just point out a few bits and pieces afterwards of what is important. So the poem starts like this. The mares that carry me as far as longing can reach rode on, once they had come and fetched me onto the legendary road of the divinity that carries the man who knows through the vast and dark unknown. And on I was carried as the mares, aware just where to go, kept carrying me, straining at the chariot, and young women led the way. Young women led the way. The charioteers that picked him up were women, feminine. And it's the horses that are leading them, nature. Like I said in my video on Parzival, the quest for the Holy Grail. When Parzival eventually found his way back to the Grail Castle, he let go of the reins of his horse. His horse led him there. Spontaneous nature, intuition. Not the mind, not the rational mind, not the thinking, not looking and reading from cover to cover in books or looking for another guru. Your own feminine intuition, feminine instinct. That's what led him. That's what led Parzival back into the Grail Castle, and that's what right now is leading Parmenides to the most inward center, to the collective unconscious. Yeah. Okay. Keep going. There are the gates of the pathway of night and day, between the opposites, held fast in places between the interval above and threshold of stone, and they reached up into heavens, filled with gigantic doors. And the keys, the now open, now lock, are held fast by justice, she who always demands exact returns. Again, a female figure is at the threshold, at the gate, not a male. Not Peter with his keys. By the way, Peter always stands outside the garden. He's never inside. He's always outside. Think about that. Why? Because Peter didn't know. He only knew what he was told. He never experienced. Okay. And with soft seductive words, the girls cunningly persuaded her to push back immediately, just for them, the bar and bolts that bolts the gates. And as the doors flew open, making the bronze axles with their pegs and nails spin, now one, now the other, in their pipes, they created a gaping chasm. Straight through and on the girls held fast their course for the chariots and horses, straight down the road, in between the opposites. That's what it means, straight down, through the chasm. Through between above and below, between night and day. That's what he's saying here. This is how you get in. This is how you get in, through the center, in between the opposites. In the story of, the ancient Greek, what is his name? I forgot. Jason and the Argonauts. That's what I'm trying to think. When Jason sailed through the clashing rocks, yeah, it was right. That's what it means to get to the Golden Fleece. He had to travel to the other dimension, to the dimension of the collective unconscious, for the Golden Fleece, to the center, to the tree, in between the opposites. Yeah. And the way that the boat, the Argo, followed in between the opposites, they first sent out a dove. The dove flew in between the opposites. The dove is your intuition. And the boat followed. That's how you get through. In between, these are your opposites. One looking outside, the other one looking inside. And the middle way, this is the middle way, your inner eye. Intuition that leads the way. And this is what we are saying here as well. Straight down the road, straight through, in between the opposites. Okay, so now he finally reached the center, Parmenides, and is welcomed by the goddess. And the goddess welcomed me kindly and took my right hand in hers and spoke these words as she addressed me. I will actually give you, if we've got time left, I will give you an experience of my own where the goddess exactly did the same thing. She took me by the right hand and showed me what I needed to know. Okay, so there we go. So she takes him by the right hand and she addressed me thus. Welcome, young man. partnered by immortal charioteers, reaching our home with the mares that carry you. For it was no hard fate that sent you traveling this road, so far away from the beaten track of humans, but rightness and justice. No hard fate means he didn't die. It wasn't death that got him there. Which, by the way, this is where you go after you die, like I've shown in my other video where I traveled beyond the wall of death, and I showed you what it was that we are finding. It's exactly the same place that he traveled to, Parmenides traveled to. This is going beyond the wall of death. This is going where you're going to when you die, where all people. We don't know exactly what happens after we die. Once you have this experience, but the process of dying, process of enlightenment are exactly the same. The process of enlightenment means that you've reached the center and you have been shown the all in us all. The process of dying is exactly the same. This is what we're seeing here again, and he's reached the very center, and this is what she's going to say to him. From the humans but righteous and justice, and what's needed is for you to learn all things, both the unshaken heart of persuasive truth and the opinions of mortals, so both ways, in which there's nothing that can truthfully be trusted at all. So mortals, in other words, she's criticizing mortals don't really know anything about anything. But even so, this too you will learn, how beliefs based on appearance ought to be believable as they travel all through all there is. As they travel all through all there is. So he reached the level where he's experiencing all there is. In other words, he's reached the level of where we are all one. Where everything is, my dog is just going a bit crazy, where everything is the all in us all, the very center. That's where he's reached. The all in us all. See, this is the very center that he's reached, and the all in us all means that whatever is the divinity that is in you is the same divinity that is in me, and the same divinity that is in people in Palestine, people in Judaism, in America, in Moscow, in China, in Iran, in Australia. We are all underneath all these things that divide us, whether religion, politics, or whatever. Underneath all this, we are all there is. See, this is what this is what she is showing him. And the important point is that in the most inward center, in the collective unconscious, the figure that initiates you into what you need to know is feminine. She is there to show you what you need to know. Now, I will share with you a dream that I had years and years ago, a very similar event. And the dream starts thus. I woke up, I'm dreaming, I'm still sleeping. I woke up and I walk through a dense fog, white dense fog. I can't see anything. Behind me is night. And while I walk through the fog, it's gradually getting lighter and lighter and lighter. And once I walked through this dense fog, I managed to come to a fully lit daylight landscape, and I can't see anything because it's blinding. So it takes me a while for my eyes to readjust, and when I readjust, just to my left, just at that threshold, is already waiting a female figure, a woman, long flowing hair, long white dress, flowing dress. She takes me by my hand and she says, "Come and I will show you something." And so she takes me on this path. We are already in a rural landscape, somewhere in in nature, somewhere what should we call it? In a park perhaps, or somewhere. Anyway, so we walk only a short distance in this path. There's a cave, entrance to a large cave. She takes me into the cave. We had to walk down one or two steps, stone steps. There's a narrow path. Get through the narrow path, and quickly we come into a huge open area, like a huge cathedral. I mean, 3, 4, 5 stories high. And in there was a tree, a huge old tree growing, flowering tree. Where the tree trunk ends and the branches begin, grew a white flower with a golden stem coming out of it. At the foot of the tree, from its roots, was bubbling a stream of water. My guide, the goddess, went into this stream, picked up a cup, filled it with this water. She gave it to me and she said, "Drink, for this is where many men of old found their gold." She's talking to me in poetry. This is your intuition. This is the water of life. This is the ambrosia. She's saying to me, drink your own feminine instinct, your own intuition, and it will give you the gold that you're looking for, the consciousness. That's what gold. In alchemy, the transmutation of lead into gold is transmutation of yourself, knowing yourself as a mortal that is going to die, to knowing yourself as divine and immortal. This is the process of refining and finding your own divinity, recovery of your soul. So what she was telling me is that if I drink my own intuition, it will teach me, she will teach me everything I need to know. And that's how it was. All my teachings, on my writings, on my things, even the things that I'm telling you now, making this video, I might have a idea of how I wanted to for the video to come out. I might have even written a few things, excuse me, that I should remember. But the rest is spontaneous, intuitive. You know, I wasn't actually going to tell you about this dream because I've already spoken about this dream before. But once I finished this reading Parmenides' journey to the travel all through all there is, travel to all there is, this is what came to me, and I'll share with you the dream that I've had, to all there is. And all there is your own intuitive mind, the feminine, that can teach you everything you want to know, including the gold, including about your own divinity, recovery of your soul. Another lesson that is actually said here when Parmenides arrived and the goddess spoke to him is this one. And what's needed is for you to learn all things, both the unshaken heart of persuasive truth and all the opinions of mortals, in which there is nothing that can truthfully be trusted at all. Opinions of mortals within which there's nothing that can be trusted at all. You know, I know so many people that are traveling to Tibet, to India, to God knows where, to ashrams and buy another best-selling book, and they still haven't had an experience of their own. You know, you're trusting all the things out there and you're not gonna find it because it's already within you. And it's not difficult to have an experience like this. You've got to incubate, turn all your energy, your libido inwards, force it back into your body. You know, stop communicating with the outside world, start communicating with the inner world. It will take a while if you haven't done it before, 2, 3, 4 days, 2 weeks, months, but it will happen. Okay? So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, that it's not out there, but it's already within you. And the core of the collective unconscious is feminine. The goddess is there. She's always been there. Okay? So I'll see you on the next one. Bye.